And welcome back, guys. Today we're here with Game by the Beach. Garrett, my bro, we're going to be talking about some Rush Royale. We're going to be talking through the cards, the rare cards specifically, and adding them to the tier list. If you guys haven't seen the first video, you need to tune into Garrett's channel. There will be a link in the description. Garrett, what's up, man? It's good to see you.
Dude, I'm excited. We've been working on this idea for a long time now. We got the commons out of the way, all the those cards. Check out the tier list. You'll know what I'm talking about. And now we're into the rares, and I'm very excited to have this discussion.
I am too. Like you said, we've been planning this for like a month, but there was so many things that got in the way. So I'm super stoked to be here. And yeah, let's get right into it. If you guys play Rush Royale, pull up your game, check out the cards list. I think it's going to be it's going to be a fun discussion. So starting off, the first rare, which I couldn't have even told you the name of.
Really?
Alchemist. I don't have any. Remember, guys, I'm representing the noobs, which then you'd think I would have more experience with the lower level cards, but I don't have experience with Alchemist. I'm representing the noobs, and Garrett is representing the MVPs, the pros, them diamond status people. So
definitely high tier.
He's also representing the eye candy of the video. So today we're going to be talking about
and so I took the glasses off.
Alchemist, bro. Alchemist. I'll take the start, because what we've been doing, guys, is adding these to our tier list. I'm sure we'll be sharing the graphics with each other and making this up, but we're fitting each card into a tier list, starting with S and then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and seeing where they fit. So I don't know. Alchemist is good, but it's not great. I'm leaning in the E-ish.
Wow. Going right in for the letter. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm leaning in the E-ish. That's simply because I just don't have a lot of experience. I'm sure you will you'll be able to elaborate a little more on this poor forgotten card.
Called enlightening. Okay. Alchemist, for those guys out there. And Alchemist, man, it's very close to my heart. Okay. I always tell this story because about a year ago, they were doing a content creator tournament. And the meta, I'll set the stage. The meta was all meteors. Okay. Everybody had meteor, but your boy. My best deck was Alchemist Thunderer. Okay. Alchemist legitimately was solid. Really, really solid. Unfortunately, with that big of an intro to Alchemist, I mean, I don't think you're that far off base.
you made me think I was way off, like I'm forgetting something.
No. So if I'm looking at the list, you said E, so E would be where Poisoner is right now. Man, I mean, you might be right. I like to think that Alchemist is better than Poisoner. I might be wrong. It's certainly not as good as Hunter or Rogue. I think it's pretty fair to say E, unfortunately. I hope, and again, it doesn't have talent, so it's got that potential factor. But it's random. It doesn't do loads of damage. It does absolutely diddly squat against bosses. It doesn't trigger with Hex. Yeah, I think E is fair. So let's throw them down here.
There you go. So it's officially E, which is impressive because I didn't think I was right, but that's awesome. Alchemist is a card I just don't see. I just don't see Alchemist. And when I do, I win. So
yeah.
What can I say?
I see the mirror match sometimes, and you can actually have some fun with them. If you ever actually make an Alchemist deck, you'll always be surprised how well you do. But you put them up against any like legitimate deck, you're going to lose every time. So
right. And I'm trying to run like real decks to climb the ladder, So
right, of course.
Yeah, if anybody throws that Alchemist, I'm like, it's gonna be good. So anyway, moving on.
Clip that audio right there. Add it to like the Green Goblin, like flying through the air.
Our first viral clip together. Yeah. So the second rare is Banner, which I think is going to do better than I'm thinking, because I have seen cards do very well and decks do very well with Banner, and it's not near as finicky as like the Knight statue, for instance, right? Banner can do a lot of things if you just think about how to incorporate it into a deck. Unfortunately, to get the same effect as your knight statue, you have to include grindstone and have both grindstone and banner. So it's got limitations. It's going to take up double the slots, but it's not quite as finicky and dumb. So I was leaning in the C-ish region.
Wow, C-ish. This is our first way off for me.
Well, I shouldn't have said anything. It was actually your turn to go first. Sorry.
All right. So you're right. No, I'm just kidding. Banner. So Banner, the only time I've ever seen Banner as a legitimate deck is in co-op when coupled with Demon Hunter. Okay. Craziness. That was the best deck, Banner and Demon Hunter. Okay. However, that is a long time gone deck, and we're doing the tier list as of today. And to me, Banner's worse than Cold Mage. Banner is worse than Hunter Rogue. To me, Banner is worse than Poisoner Alchemist. I would put Banner at F if it was up to me.
Phew. So okay, let me elaborate. Okay, I always felt like people that used Banner, and this was what back in the beginning. You're right. I don't see it anymore. But when I first started half a year ago, if I saw people using Banner, I was like, man, respect, right?
Yeah.
They're giving up a whole card slot for something that just buffs other cards. Like, to me, that was a noble gesture, right?
Okay.
Banner, that's what's up. But you're right.
Like, Kingdom of Light, right? Like Noble, Kingdom of Light.
It sure is. Yeah, it's a very bright banner. Maybe it should be a B. Bright banner. Anyway.
We did do that a few times.
So yeah, I think you're right though. I mean, and this is why this tier list is so great. And I'm glad we started with all the commons, because there's such a crazy variety of versatility with the commons, is that you can look at all the others and compare. So I mean, yeah, you're right. Is Banner on the level with Poisoner and Alchemist?
Well, let's split the difference. I agree. Let's go E. Okay. It's not a C, can't be a D. Fire Mage and Lightning Mage are like bad. Banner at least makes your cards better.
Yeah.
You get a nice high level banner next to like a Blade Dancer, next to an Inquisitor. It's going to be a little bit more viable. So I think E is a good place for it.
I think so too. I appreciate. See, I fought a little bit and got you up.
You had to. That's what you got to do here. That's what you got to do. Some of these cards are going to be a little skewed for me because they're close to my heart, kind of like Alchemist. I should have fought for Alchemist a little bit more, but we want to make this a realistic deck. We don't want people leaving here and being like, man, that is the worst card list I have ever seen. That's not ideal.
Right. And by the way, guys, I don't know if we mentioned this in the first video, but if you have different thoughts, if you think we're off, let us know in the comments. I would love to read that stuff. That'd be fun, wouldn't it, Garrett?
I'll be coming in hot for you in the comments. Okay. We're going to come in. If you guys disagree with this list, no, I'm just kidding. Please. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Everyone is on a different, level. Some of you are below 1,000 trophies. Some of you are over 9,000 trophies. Let me know your thoughts, because maybe a card is super, super good at one level and just isn't relevant at another. And that's why some of these tier lists are pretty difficult to make. So it's okay.
Yeah, for sure. That's why we have such a variety of skill levels and experience levels working together to make this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 3, Magic Cauldron. Magic Cauldron is a bit of a staple in your support decks and I've seen Magic Cauldron all over the place. Maybe not as much lately, just because like in the past couple of weeks, the extra bonuses, the weekly bonuses, it hasn't really played in with Magic Cauldron all that well in my experience. But I do definitely think that Magic Cauldron deserves a little love. I'm not going to say anything else. You can go first on this one.
I think it's your turn, is it not? Oh, maybe it is my turn.
I stole it from you last time. So
Okay. So Magic Cauldron's an interesting one. It was never really in the meta. Kind of okay as a support, PvP, it never really had an application, but it got the talents, and the talents were pretty cool. It made it so Zealot became a little bit more relevant. That's kind of the only deck I run it with, is either a support deck in dungeons, or as a support card in my attack deck in dungeons with Zealot. So unfortunately, it's only really viable with talents on it, which a lot of us don't have talents on it. I don't think it's going to be very high, but if I had to put it somewhere, I'd probably put it in D as of right now. because I definitely think it's a little bit better than Poison or Alchemist. Banner, it's definitely not on the same level as Banner. That would be just straight disrespect. And Hunter Rogue, I think that's fitting. And notice that all of the ones on D, if we agree that it's going to go on D, those are all ones that have had talents added to them, so their potential is very limited. It's Hunter, Rogue, and Cauldron are never really going to be better than they are right now, I don't think. Maybe I'm totally off base on that, but some of these other cards that I think are going to go higher have that potential to where with talents they could be a staple in the meta.
And I want to say I agree with you 100%. I think D is probably where Cauldron deserves to be, belongs. Although it's a C, it should be Cauldron C, but we're not going to follow that rule. But one thing I have noticed is if I'm going in co-op or with randoms, which I do a lot because it's entertaining. If someone's is rocking, they've got their Harlequin and their Mime and they've got their Shaman and then they have Cauldron, I'm disappointed. Like I wished you would have brought Summoner or something else, right? That's where I kind of land on that. I've had a lot of success with support decks that aren't Cauldron, so yeah, I think D's fitting.
Yeah, Cauldron is one of those cards that you could just kind of throw into a support deck, and it's not going to make it worse. I think Demonologist is probably better. Clock of Power is probably better in that slot. Yeah, D. Okay, agreed. Cauldron.
So the one I'm most excited about, there's 2 or 3 of them that I'm really excited about, and I want to hear from you specifically on this one, is the next one, Chemist. And the reason why I want to hear from you is because this dude is in my main deck. I love him. Yep. He's the bomb, not the bombardier, just the bomb.
Yep.
And I love him. And I would put him a lot higher than I probably should. So I just want to hear you talk for a second, and then I'll reveal how I feel.
Chemist right now, I would say, is the best support card. There's kind of 2 different ways I look at support cards. There's the support cards that are like, Priestess, Harlequin, Dryad. Those are separate. But then there's the support cards that are like Chemist, Bombardier, Cold Mage, Stasis. I think Chemist is probably the best. And depending on what my best deck is right now, I think Chemist is in there also. And there's always that struggle, Bombardier, Chemist, Bombardier, Chemist. I was doing this when I was running my Cultist deck and pushing up to 7K. And I would ask everybody, which is better, Chemist or Bombardier? And I would try out different ones. I'll tell you right now, Chemist trumped Bombardier at the end of the day. With all that just nonsense of words, I think I put him at A. I think I put him at the same spot as Bombardier. I don't think there's enough to put him above Bombardier, even though I think that it is better. So let me put him at, I would put him at A, but I'd put him in front of Bombardier just to show his superiority.
Sure. Yeah, I would agree. I've done this thing where I'm highlighting the cell on my Excel spreadsheet that I'm thinking, and we both were on A, so we're in agreement. We may consider at one point, since we have nothing in B, moving Bombardier back one or reassigning some things. But right now, I think it works that Bombardier and Chemist are always neck and neck. Chemist just kind of edges out Bombardier just a bit, so they both kind of belong in A. And that I'm satisfied with that. I would have loved to have seen Chemist have an S, but we both know that just isn't going to happen.
And one thing to note, he doesn't have talents. So Chemist as the best support card right now, talents come out and add to it. And there's so many out there that could add to it. It could be a higher level merge rank periodically like Hunter. It could higher percent of shield reduction, make it even more viable. I have a hard time seeing them put talents on them anytime soon because Chemist is used so often. But I'd be very interested to see. And hey, you get any type of buff on Chemist, and that could move it up to S tier.
I agree 100%. Let's blast through this next one. I think it's going to be a simple one for us. Grindstone, right? Grindstone would fit, I think, in the same ballpark as Banner because they just kind of strike me as the yin and yang, the pre-night statue cards. So E.
I like it. I like it. Enough said.
There you go. Priestess. Priestess is so good, but I have not used her much at all. So I want to hear from you on this one.
So Priestess is really that first card that you get that kind of introduces you to the high of moving cards around and playing the game in a different way than you would typically. Okay. When you're a lower level player, you get units on your board, you combine out the same unit, you hope for a higher level unit that's doing damage or something like that. It's a very simplistic way of playing. Priestess allows you to change that play style to where you're combining them, you're getting mana, you can level it up and combine it more and getting mana. And it's almost kind of like risk it for the biscuit mentality, which I love doing that. It's also got talents in there. It made it so you get even more mana, and you can run Priestess in almost any deck. So with that being said, I think it's higher than most of the rares. And I don't even have mine talented at all. Mine's level 11, has no talents on it. It's almost a tough one for me, to be honest. I might need your help on this one, because I'm looking at like D or C, but what might happen is it might be higher on the list purely because it's a very useful card at lower levels. I don't really ever use her. But I know a lot of people that do. So I might need your help on this one.
So whenever I would play the random events where you just get random decks, I loved it when I got Priestess. Not the first time. I didn't understand Priestess. And then after I lost, I went back and read up on how to use Priestess. I'm like, oh, you don't want a bunch of them,
right.
Mix them together and get all the mana, and it's great. And as soon as I understood Priestess, I usually win with Priestess if the other person, is, and they have the same deck, same crit and everything. So I think fondly of Priestess. I was thinking B or C.
Okay.
You were thinking C or D.
Yep.
So you want to kind of put it at C?
I like it. I think that makes sense. I think that's really fitting with Cold Mage, because they're both good cards, but they're not the best of their version.
Right. They're middle tier.
Yep. I think that fits.
I desperately want something to end up being in the B category today, though. It may not happen.
I know, I'm wondering what it will be. Stay tuned, because we'll put one eventually, but not right now. Oh, we could be coming up on one soon. Oh.
We'll see. The next one I think is not a B.
No.
Sentry. And yep. I don't like Sentry at all. I'm going to take the lead on this one here, man. So it's just a damage dealer that doesn't do anything spectacular, in my opinion. Do you like it says it gradually increases damage dealt and 10% increase. So it's kind of like a Crystal Mancer.
100%. Yep.
But it's just a wimpy version of it.
Yep.
So with that in mind, since I've never used it ever, I think it's pretty low on the totem pole. Yep. To be honest.
How low?
I'm seeing it at D or E.
Okay. Yep. I agree with you. I don't think that we can put it at Hunter, Rogue, Cauldron. I think it's Poisoner, Alchemist banner level. The only thing I will say about it's got no talents. I'm actually requesting Sentry pretty much exclusively in my clan chat right now, because I think that's a type of card that talents will come out on soonish. And if it benefits it a lot, maybe it'll give it a nice little push. But as of right now, as of today, it's I think it's an E. I think it's a little bit better than Fire Mage, Lightning Mage. That would be disrespectful, but I think an E is fitting.
Yeah. All right. You know what's funny? Whenever we first started, I was like, we're going to be too nice, but most of our stuff's at the bottom. Remembering,
and this shows legendaries, dude.
Yes. We started with commons. Naturally, everything is going to be at the lower end of everything. So it makes perfect sense. This one, I can't wait to hear from you about. Sharpshooter.
You can wait.
Oh, I can't wait. All right. Sharpshooter, bro. Sharpshooter. Help me out. What do you think?
Sharpshooter. A very interesting card. It targets what? It targets the highest damage, I think, right? It targets bosses first, type of thing.
Max health.
Which it might be the first of that type that we're discussing here. And it's not bad. I mean, I don't really see it in many decks. I see it every once in a while in a dungeon run. I see it every once in a while in a PvP. With talents, it's got a couple of cool talents where it freezes or stuns, I think is the right word, stuns your opponent's units when you merge it or something, which can be kind of annoying and useful. And it also has a buff when bosses come, so then it will like light up and be all cool. I mean, aesthetically, it looks really, really cool when it's lit up and doing stuff. It's good, man. I mean, is it a B? No, I don't think it's a B. I don't think it's a B.
Dang it.
Is that what you were hoping for?
Yeah, I was.
I don't think I can put it at B realistically. I would probably put it at C or D. I would put it that low. I mean, I feel like maybe we're being a little harsh, but again, it's the commons and rares. We're gonna have time.
Yeah, we've set a standard. It's okay.
Yeah, I like it. I think people will respect it, and if they don't, it's okay. But I would say either C or D, and I would like to hear a definitive which one you would go with.
So I did think my first knee-jerk reaction was Sharpshooter was better than Hunter, which we do have Hunter at D. And again, the reason why I don't really particularly like Hunter is because Hunter hits a random target, which is it kills me. I hate it. So I want to say C.
Okay. I will respect your opinion and put it at C, even if I don't 100% agree.
Great. That's cool. Do we need that CD category again?
I think Sharpshooter is pretty solid at lower levels too. It's got a little bit of an application at lower levels, and it's got a little bit of an application at higher levels. So maybe in that regard, it's a little bit better than the D category. I could see that.
You could see that.
He's quick. He's sharp shooter. Okay. On to the last one.
Oh, the last one is Zealot.
Wow.
Which would have been so different in the past, right?
Yeah.
It's still good. I mean, I haven't used Zealot with the talents. I've avoided Zealot because I don't have the talents. So I really need to hear from you on this, but I do know that it's most applicable in co-op with support.
Yep.
So how many people get to take advantage of that, especially at the beginning, at the earlier stages of the game. Not everybody may have that type of coordination in their clan. So I think that may be the one. And I've also seen a lot of start offs where you just lose, right? If Zealot, you get into like wave 3 and you die or even sooner. So it's definitely not like upper end, but it's definitely not lower end. So help me out, man.
Man, you're breaking my heart a little bit on this one. Because Zealot used to be so bad, and then it got really good, and I am in love with the idea of Zealot. I just think it's such a cool idea. And before you started talking, I was gonna be confidently placing it in the B category.
Ooh.
And after you talked or you spoke up, I don't disagree. Okay. You never see it in PvP. In dungeons, it's very, very tough to run, but Zealot was my first damage card where I could confidently beat dungeons floor 10 without a worry in the world. But you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said you also need Shaman to level it up. You can't really use it with Scrapper and level it up on your own because you need that mana. So it makes it very, very tough. So with everything combined there, I'm going to leave B blank once again.
Yes.
And maybe it would make more sense for C, but if you think it should be lower, maybe it's a little bit more of a discussion, because I think my feelings for the card maybe clouding my reality. So I don't know. I mean, you definitely see Cold Mage, Priestess, and probably Sharpshooter all on the ladder more. And you might even see all of those cards in dungeons more than Zealot. Hunter, Rogue, Cauldron, maybe that's its home. Cauldron, Zealot, they like to be together, you could make an argument for D. What do you think?
I knew this was going to be a great ending.
I know I love the card,
I
but
do too, actually. So
the wave two losses just break me in half.
yeah, yeah. Here's what I think. We have so many tiers. C is the dead center, which means it should be at the top of the bell curve, right? Of strengths.
Okay.
And if you think it through, it's not the best co-op card. You can't use it in PvP. If you have the right combination, it's epic in co-op, but you gotta get it. You gotta get it just right.
And it has to be at max level with high crit. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, I won in PvP with Zealot, but like, I'm sure you haven't.
No,
I'm sure most people haven't. And if I do, it's almost like trolling.
Yeah.
And I need that max Cauldron to help it.
Yep.
Are we thinking D?
I'm thinking it's a spear point. You know, it's like it's so good at one thing and it's bad at so many other things. So I wish that we could. It might be controversial, guys. If you're watching this and you're like, no, y'all are wrong, you're stupid, then let us know in the comments. But I think that Zealot belongs in the D category.
Wow.
And
that's upsetting.
That makes me sad too.
I don't disagree, though. I mean, sometimes it just be like that, you know? Zealot, get better. And like I always enjoy saying, it's already got its talents. It's probably not going to get any better very soon. You know, it's probably not in the sight of the developers saying, oh, we need to buff this card. It had its shining moment just a couple of months ago, so it probably won't for another year.
That's true. But I think that, okay, so like, let's say you're a whale and you just like spending money on the game, or you've been playing a long time and you've got stuff developed. Zealot is better than D, if that's your position. If your position is, if you're in Garrett's position, yeah, if you're in Garrett's position where you got higher cred and you've got, you know, upgraded stuff, you got lots of gold, you can invest into Zealot, then yes, Zealot is way better than D. But as a whole, and that's what this is all about, as a whole, Zealot's got way too many weaknesses.
Zealot was my first time beating floor 100 back in the old co-op.
Wow.
And that was amazing to watch because it was just kind of a irrelevant card. But when used correctly, it's very, very cool. But today's day and age, that's what, just like you said, it's all about right now, overall. Yeah, I think that's fitting.
So that does it, guys, for the 9 rare cards. We're going to be covering the epics in another future video that will be appearing on my channel once again, because we feel that the legendary in the final video should appear on Garrett's channel. His is specifically about Rush Royale. So guys, don't forget to let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to check out Garrett's channel for the future videos and the finished tier list. And do you have anything to say, Garrett, before we take off?
Nah, I mean, I like it. I think the list is coming along pretty well. Very excited to see what part 3 has in store.
And honestly, I'm glad we're not trying to like blitz through this thing and make every video super short, because I think the discussion is, I think, going to be sort of entertaining, but also very educational. So I like it. I like how things are going. Guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.